So, YouTube girlfriend, what do you think of these headlights?
I think they look like fried eggs.
What? What are you talking about?
See?
Are you? Okay, I'm just gonna say it. The 996 generation 911 is the worst 911 generation, bar none, ever built. Now, I always wanted to see if the hype or lack thereof was real. So guess what I did, boys? I bought one. And guess what? I now know exactly why the 996 gen is the worst. See, the 996 and the 986 Boxster, they're transition cars. It was at a time when Porsche was trying to become more efficient with their manufacturing process. If the 996 and the 986 weren't successful, well then Porsche might not even be around today. So to say that this car had to be a success was an understatement. Growing up, I loved the 996. And the main reason was that the design was influenced by the Le Mans winning GT1 98, which if you ask me is one of the most beautifully designed cars ever. But man, the 996 hit a few too many branches when it fell out of the ugly tree. And yes, technically, I have no doubts that the 996 is a true Porsche 911 and it will give you all the feels that a true Porsche should give you. But I'm not here to tell you how great it is. I'm here to tell you how much I hate my 996 with its big turbo brakes, its turbo exterior. And guys, while we're at it, I don't think many will debate that this is one of the best looking rear ends in 911 history. Yeah, you guys remember that ugly tree? Well, let's start at the front of the car. Personally, I really dislike the 996 front end a lot. And guess what? Most people feel the exact same way. Maybe 20 years from now, it's gonna be cool, but right now, those headlights aren't really doing this car any favors. In fact, I think about 94% of all people don't like the 996 specifically because of the headlights. Don't take my word for it. Let's go talk to YouTube girlfriend and see what she thinks. So, YouTube girlfriend, what do you think of these headlights?
I think they look like fried eggs.
What? What are you talking about?
See?
Are you? Today's special is fried eggs. Go snag one of our limited edition, it's our best-selling teas up here. I can't believe you just did that.
No animals were harmed.
Oh my God. I can't believe she just did that. Do you guys remember the GT198? Yeah, those headlights were so racy, so slick, and I loved them. And these, I can't put my finger on them, but they're just no bueno. So what I figured out is that there's two options to remedy the fried egg headlights. The first one, you can put on these body color covers, but man, no amount of makeup is gonna cover that ugly face. The second option, which is way less cost effective, is you just buy a 997, which in fact, that's exactly what I did. Just look at this thing. I tried to make it the ugliest 997 possible. You know, the blue wrap, the yellow headlights, and the rocket launcher on top. And I'll take both of these to the car show, and by far, this car gets all of the hate because of the headlights. I don't know. People just kind of don't even pay attention to this thing when these headlights are there. But that rear end. Ugh. Which brings me to my second point. This car just, it kind of looks like the lesser Boxster. But see guys, it wasn't just that. When they were developing the 996, they were also developing the Boxster at the same time. And in order to cut costs, they developed both to share a lot of parts. In fact, the whole front third looks pretty similar. Just look at this Boxster, and then look at this same year 911. Yeah, that would kind of suck if you paid a lot more for a 911 and most people thought that you bought the mid-engine Boxster. Now, this wouldn't really be an issue except they released the Boxster first. And so then a couple years later, they released this 911 and most diehard Porsche fans were, well, gasping for air because the 911 looked like the cheaper car. It would have been way better if Porsche would have released the 911 first and then the Boxster, but they didn't. And so everybody thinks that this looks like the cheaper Boxster. You really screwed that one up, Porsche. And that's almost as bad as the third thing, the engine. The IMS, RMS, LOL. See guys, back here, the intermediate shaft bearing and rear main seal are very well documented weak points on the car. I'm not gonna get into it here, but it's essentially the seal for the bearing for the shaft. That seal breaks down and it lets oil into that bearing. But that bearing doesn't want any engine oil in it. It's not the right lubricant, and so that bearing will fail, which then causes the full engine to fail. Now, some people will say that that IMS issue is way overblown on the internet, and I'm here to say that it is not. I know of over 12 instances where this has actually happened, and if you go and talk to any Porsche mechanic, they've dealt with it as well. In fact, there was a class action lawsuit because this was such a failure point. Now, it costs about $2,500 to put a ceramic bearing into your 996. That's pretty good insurance considering that about 1 in every 10 will fail without doing that. So I would just put that in the cost of ownership for a 996 911 if you're looking at buying one and it hasn't been done. This car specifically, well, it didn't have it done, and it had the engine blow up at 50,000 miles. I have receipts from the previous owner, over $25,000 for a fully new engine rebuild. I'm happy, it now has a 4-liter in it, but that had to be a pretty tough pill to swallow considering only a few years later, I didn't even pay that much for the car. So I essentially got a fully built 4-liter and a free 996 911. Not a bad deal. Dare I say ideal? Now guys, the next gripe is just the overall exterior appearance of this 911. It's just not my favorite. Everything just seems so overly rounded off, and it's just lost a lot of the beautiful lines that earlier 911s had, specifically those forgettable headlights, and even its hips aren't as curvy as they used to be. I think the easiest way to explain it to somebody is they put this 911 in the microwave and then just pressed on. And just overall, it's so much bigger than its ancestors. Now, as much as they blew it on the exterior, they blew it even more on the interior. Everything in here is just way too round. And overall, the interior just looks extremely dated and not in a good way like a lot of older cars. Come to think of it, the 996 interior kind of reminds me of like a mid-90s Taurus. Yeah, it may have slightly better materials, but this is 90s automotive design that I'm so glad has come and gone. So, with all that being said, how does it drive? Well, I never thought you'd ask. It sure does still drive like a 911. I love this car. So, the 996 sold more than any generation before it, so they must have been doing something right. Fortunately for all of us looking for ideal cars like this one, well, there's a lot of used examples on the market today. And pound for pound, I don't think there's any generation of 911 that can beat this one for the price. So in no way was this video made, or do I think that you can't enjoy a Porsche 911 996 Gen. It was just made to share with you guys why so many hardcore enthusiasts hate this generation, but I think they're starting to warm up to it. I know I am. Now, if you guys enjoyed this video and you like cars, please hit that subscribe button if you're new here. My name's Brad Danger. Also hit that like button for the YouTube algorithm and check out some of our other videos at Ideal Media. And as always, keep living that ideal lifestyle.